Let's take a look at Matt Taibbi's article about Zohran Mamdani, because this inspired quite a crash out as Matt Taibbi desperately, pathetically tried to defend himself, not just from us. Zac was absolutely destroying Matt on Twitter, but also Zaid Jilani, someone who's occupies or at least has occupied a somewhat similar kind of like I'm an independent kind of journalist lane as Matt. I think they've expressed mutual respect for each other. But either way, let's take a look at this. This is an article from Matt Taibbi's Substack, Racket News. Socialism wins its American Normandy. Zohran's victory in the New York City mayoral primary opens a new era in American crazy. So let's take a look at this real quick. We're not going to read the whole thing, but there's some pretty funny stuff in here that, again, inspired quite a backlash. He says, in a comet-like ascent, Mamdani has become a bête noire for conservatives, many Jewish New Yorkers, and moderates, thanks to a list of controversial statements, including a quasi-defense of the phrase globalize the intifada. In fairness, after a gotcha question, not signing a state assembly resolution recognizing the Holocaust and leading efforts to boycott Israel and slow Israeli charities. If it's your thing, feel free to flip out over those. But the true red flag is Mamdani's economic platform. It's a yummy poo-poo platter of rent freezes, free bus rides, free bus rides, free childcare, and subsidized city-owned grocery stores that will quote unquote buy and sell at wholesale prices, and centralized warehousing and distribution, clamping down on those evil bodega owners and private supermarkets that force overpriced Fritos and soda on the poor. And this is a specifically funny line. We're going to read a little bit more, but I have to react to that real quick. Zohran has literally done like a million videos with like bodega owners and, food truck guys. Clearly he doesn't view them as like some evil, nefarious capitalist force. If anything, he's trying to make it easier for them to do business as well.
Oh, 100%. One of his first viral videos that he had I think back in January, he's wearing a coat. It's freezing cold outside. And he's like, make halal cheaper in New York again. He was like, I can make halal $2 cheaper. Watch, I'll go and interview all of these halal trucks. I'll be like, if I got rid of this stupid fucking permitting hang up, would you be able to sell halal for less? They were like, oh yeah, I could sell it for probably like $1.50, $2 less. And he was like, make halal cheap again. Make halal affordable again. And it was an amazing video of him just eating at different halal carts around New York City.
And again, it proves that even in a city like New York, Zohran's not like those guys are capitalists. Technically, you're the fucking entrepreneur on the side of the street selling halal or whatever. Like that guy's technically engaging in capitalism. Zohran's not against those people. He's trying to make it easier for them to do what they're doing. He's trying to make it easier for them to make money too, in addition to making it cheaper for everyone to go enjoy their food, right? So to call him like, oh, he hates capitalism, again, it's just stupid, and it completely misunderstands his political program. He doesn't think bodega owners are evil, obviously, and he doesn't even have a problem with private supermarkets or anything like that. So Matt Taibbi goes on to say, this will be the AOC theory of inflation caused by quote-unquote price gouging deployed in life via a program to reverse ongoing harms of colonialism by liberating humans and non-human food animals from industry-driven food myths that compel us to harm our bodies. And have you stabbed yourself in the face yet? Viva la revolution. So I'm not even sure what the fuck he's talking about here. He starts talking about like making fun of vegans or something. Like I'm not even really sure what aspect of Zohran's platform he's referencing with this whole like non-human food animal thing. But he's clearly just taking a jab at like crazy lefties and vegans, and I guess Zohran seems like one of those or something. Some boomer brain rot, as Fuzzy Slippers put it. But what's your reaction to that, Zac, before we read the last hilarious paragraph?
Yeah, so when I first saw this article, I was actually holding out hope that we might get some old school Matt Taibbi, and that he would focus this article on how insane like Kristen Gillibrand was, and how all of the people in New York City who had shown their true colors, and like they were as Islamophobic as could fucking be, and like hateful as this guy. And I thought that it was at least going to be like a full-throated defense of Zohran, right? And boy was I wrong. Boy was I wrong, because I clicked on it and I was like, egg on my face. Matt cannot do a goddamn thing. But by the time I got to the stab yourself in the face yet, I could no longer translate it. It was just like watching an adult talk through the telephone and Charlie Brown and wah, 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 wah. Like, I don't understand boomer like that, Matt Taibbi. Like, wah, 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 wah. Like, that was what my brain was doing. I couldn't even hear it as I read silently to myself.
Yeah, and it's not like Zohran is this super virtue signally, like I'm a revolutionary kind of. There are annoying leftists that pretend to be more revolutionary than they actually are, and they just lean into like edgy iconography or like edgy phrases. It's not like Zohran is like tweeting out like memes about Mao or like defending Stalin or something, like like the kind of people that Matt Taibbi is making fun of here. He's just assigning this stereotype to actually a very serious person who has been a elected official for the last 4 years, not some college kid LARPing or whatever. But get ready for this, guys. College is used to subtly pull students back from this ledge before graduation. What he means is that colleges brainwash kids into capitalists. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. But now the parents are socialists leading here. Anyone tempted to laugh shouldn't. This is the flip side of Trumpism. Inevitable for similar reasons, an absent full catastrophe incoming, Mamdani ruled Gotham, not impossible. The electoral mainstreaming of dingbat campus socialism has only begun. So he wants to equate Zohran Mamdani's entire political program to dingbat campus socialism. There's another article he wrote calling it TikTok socialism. Again, completely ignoring the fact that this man has serious policy proposals, many of which are inspired by successful socialist mayorships of the past. We talked about the sewer socialists and how back in like the 20s and 30s and shit, like it actually wasn't uncommon for people like Zohran who identified as socialists, who had an actual socialist agenda. It wasn't uncommon for them to be not only elected as mayors and governors and stuff like that, but to succeed in those roles and be really good public officials, right? So it's nothing crazy. It's nothing new. But even though Zohran, again, is a very serious person who has served the last 4 years in public office doing serious things, not making TikToks or whatever the fuck, because I guess he's young, because he's like 33 or something, Matt Taibbi's going to call him a dingbat campus socialist or a TikToker or something. Like just the most lazy, low effort fucking smear. Again, at least actually take issue with one of his policies if you're going to write this kind of article. This is just like boomer condescension.
Oh, 100%. That's all Matt has left. He understands that his audience absolutely hates Zohran, and he's willing to, do a complete 180 on all of the writing that he's done in the past, which we can, lay out for anyone. It's obvious to people who watched Matt devolve in real time as we did. We watched him grow from, butthurt and scorned boomer to whatever the hell Elon sycophant he was, and now he's just on this like scorched earth path to strike in every direction, right, besides the right. And he's got this tweet where he starts defending himself. And this is where I really just I lost it. I was like, you're fucking crazy, dude. I read you every single day when I was young. And he says, if I'm not a socialist means being right wing and a sellout, I'm not the one who's changed, folks. And again, everybody get ready. Gavin just read you the article he wrote about Zohran, right? We understand the Mamdani mandate was lost on Matt Taibbi. But look at this article from 2015, a decade ago. This is what Matt Taibbi was writing. I said, bro, your articles are all public. Nobody says you have to be a socialist. Your coverage of Zohran is a giant departure from how you covered Sanders a decade ago. I know because I read you constantly, and I immediately thought of this article. One of the very first Rolling Stone articles I read as a young person. Okay, why? Because I was looking for shit about Bernie Sanders. And I think I read it a few weeks after it came out. I don't think I got there in April. I think I read about it maybe in like August or September when I was a senior in high school in Mr. Stern's AP government class. Okay, Matt, I've been a reader a long time. He said, give them hell, Bernie. Bernie Sanders is more serious than you think. Bernie Sanders' entrance into the 2016 presidential race isn't a footnote to the inevitable coronation of Hillary Clinton as the Democratic nominee. He stuck his neck out for Bernie and wrote that piece, and I was stoked to see it. And I believed in Matt Taibbi for a long fucking time, guys. He was my dude. I remember when I opened up Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 1972, read his fucking note at the beginning. He wrote the preface, right? Or the foreword or whatever the hell it is. And he talks about how the book used to be red. My copy was black. Okay, I go long way with Matt Taibbi's writing. Read Spanking the Donkey. Got all of his books on the shelf in my living room. I know what kind of a writer this guy was. He says, if I'm not a socialist now means being a right wing and a sellout. I'm not the one who's changed. Bullshit.
We've actually just changed. Matt Taibbi, totally same guy. It's us, Zach. It's us. It's everyone else. I hate this fucking gaslighting, which is why, Zach, I was pretty excited to see Zaid Jilani weigh in with a very similar sentiment. This is pretty similar to what you said, Zach, to Matt Taibbi. Zed says, you wrote more gushing articles about Bernie Sanders than any other politician. Why can't you ever admit that you're changing your views? And then he says it's okay to change your views. I've changed some of mine over the years too. I would not go that far. I would say it's not okay to change your views if they go from good, sound political analysis to right-wing propaganda, total dog shit, right? So I would amend that, but I still see Zed's point, and I would respect Matt Taibbi more if he did just come out here and be like, yeah, I was on the left, and now I'm kind of like, at best, a fucking enlightened centrist who leans to the right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just admit it, bro. Everyone already knows. You know what I mean? Like, I again, not that I would respect Matt Taibbi for being on the right and for self-identifying as that, but the fact that he wants to hang on to this, like, oh, I'm still kind of like anti-establishment, punk rock, and whatever. Like, no, you're fucking not, bro. You're fucking not. You're shitting all over Zohran Mamdani with weak bullshit Fox News talking points, calling him a dingbat college campus TikTok socialist. Like, you literally sound like a fucking boomer, bro, in every possible way. So what, and Zach, besides the obvious, things we've discussed, what do you think it is about Zohran that would, register different to someone like Matt Taibbi than Bernie? Why would you give Bernie so much credit but not see the same thing in Zohran? Do you have any theories?
I think that if Bernie Sanders burst onto the scene right now, Matt would have a very similar take on him. I think that he's become a full-on reactionary. I think that Matt's politics over the last 3-4 years have really shifted. I think that he was one of the people who bought a lot of bullshit about, I don't even I, like the Elon Musk thing, the Twitter files. He just kind of kept extending himself with another horseshit story after another horseshit story. And I think he still feels really, ousted from mainstream media. We talked a lot about how the way that, people rediscovered his writing that he claimed was satire, impacted his ability to be like friendly received in, New York literary and news spaces and the kind of places where he wanted to hang out. And
he wasn't getting invited on fucking MSNBC anymore
or anywhere. He probably wasn't invited to cocktail parties. He probably was used to being the guy that like, oh, he's like the edgy guy, but we like invite him and he's kind of a douche to us, but he's super smart or whatever the hell he was into, right? And now that's not happening, and he just was more and more into the self-victimization, and he's surrounded by probably surrounded himself by a lot of men who were also really into the self-victimization and, the world's leaving me behind and everything's changing too fast and all these things.
And Zohran is so young too.
And he's exactly right. He represents all of that change, guys. I also think, are you ready? I think October 7th brought out a little bit of Matt Taibbi Zionism. And I think that there's no other way to put it. I don't know why he feels like he shouldn't be speaking out on behalf of Palestine, but I know it makes him a coward. No. It made me lose whatever remaining respect I had for him months and months ago. I was like, if you can't speak out about this, there's nothing good in you. There's nothing good left in you. And Zohran is very outspoken about Palestine, and don't fucking kid yourself. That colors what Matt Taibbi's writing about him. That colors what Christian Gillibrand has said about him. That colors what every single fucking hack who wants to smear him and say nasty things about him. That's what's fueling it, right? And I never really read Matt Taibbi as an Islamophobic guy, but again, I think that October 7th and the aftermath of it has brought out, bad tendencies in people, and I think it's a combination of age discrimination, boomer reactionary politics, self-victimization, and the aftermath of October 7th.
Yeah, I think the Palestine thing is huge. 100% I do. And that's actually one of the reasons why I like Zohran, at least on paper, even more than a Bernie or an AOC, because he's even more outspoken on that issue. Again, we'll wait to see what happens if he's actually elected the mayor, but I have a feeling that will carry over. You know what I'm saying? That he'll keep, standing on principle. Either way, get a load of this bullshit, bro. Get a load of this absolute bullshit that Zaid Jilani was responding to here. Matt says, again, I was never a fan of socialism. I lived in the last years of Soviet rule and spent a decade listening to horror stories about planned economics, nationalized industry, etc. The only thing new is shock at these ideas being taken seriously here. So he's literally trying to act like, oh, Bernie Sanders, who also identified as a democratic socialist, somehow like this wasn't a concern then, but now I'm fucking a Fox News talking head, fear mongering about socialism and communism and stuff. Like, bro, he's trying to make the buses free and open like a few city managed grocery stores or whatever, so there's not food deserts and stuff, because some fucking private companies won't open a place unless there's a a customer base that's going to make them as much profit as they want to make. That's not how fucking food services should work. You should have access to that regardless of how much money it's going to make the capitalist, right? This isn't crazy, bro. He's not talking about turning us into the USSR. To act like Zohran Mamdani, who again wouldn't even have that power if he wanted to. He's not running for the fucking king of the universe. He's running for the mayor of New York City. We've even had people on the show that are like, don't get your expectations too high. The mayor of New York City can't actually do that much. You know what I'm saying? They can't make these sweeping kind of overhauls that real socialists really want. But again, to act like Zohran Mamdani is something to be scared of, or to act like his version of socialism is like way more aggressive and radical than Bernie's, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. In fact, I think Sagar and Jetty the other day on Breaking Points was like, as much as this guy talks about socialism, he kind of just sounds like a shit lib to me, which I thought was funny because he is more radical than your average Democrat, but he's not that radical. He is just kind of like Bernie, but younger.
Oh, 100%. And, we haven't mentioned it, guys, but I think there might be one more element to Matt Taibbi's de-evolution, and that's his billionaire bosses. David Sachs tweets out this fucking deranged swill. He says, Mamdani smiles like a crocodile as he says his end goal is to elect more socialists. Why would a socialist want to build a coalition? That's crazy. And sees the means of production. Democrats have become the party of Luigi left, Tesla terrorism, and crocodile communists, which is so funny after the alligator Alcatraz is going viral. Like, that's just projection right there. But Matt Taibbi then quote tweets his favorite billionaire, I guess, now that Elon and him had a breakup. And he says, for people asking the difference between Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani, I don't recall Bernie talking about seizing the means of production. Are you ready, folks? Are you ready, folks? Because I never forget. All right, fuck it, G-Ride. I want the machines that are making them. So does Bernie fucking Sanders. May 12th, 2017, before Matt Taibbi's mind was broken, amid a constitutional crisis, Bernie Sanders urges workers to seize the means of production. I said, try again, weasel.
Ooh, that's brutal. That's brutal. I mean, just a blatant lie from Matt Taibbi. And again, I didn't even realize that Bernie said it that recently. My response to that, I didn't see you tweeted that. My response to that was going to be like, go back to the 80s. I'm sure you could find a video of Bernie saying some shit that's a little bit more radical sounding than what he says now. Something that's at least as radical as seize the means of production. But nope, you don't even have to go back to the 80s. Apparently he said it during his fucking, right after his first run for the presidency. He was like, yeah, we should probably do this thing that now Matt Taibbi is trying to scaremonger people out of voting for Zohran based on, which is crazy. Again, to act like Zohran Mamdani is something to be afraid of is so fucking funny. And again, have some balls, Matt Taibbi. Like, what are you, a fucking Andrew Cuomo supporter? Who do you think was the best candidate in that race, if not Zohran? What the fuck even is your political ideology? Are you just a Republican now?
If you ask him, he'll say, why would I care? I don't even live in New York anymore, bro. And it's like, okay, well then why the fuck did you weigh in? However, Gavin, he unearthed this yesterday. Thank God he did, because it was a video footage moments before Matt Taibbi's brain was incinerated. We don't have the exact timeline, but this is the last obtainable footage we could get of Matt Taibbi before his brain turned to pudding. Would you like to witness it, Gavin?
Yeah, let's play this one for the people.
Final good take.
Ambition in life in my media in my media career, which is that I want Zac and Gavin from the Vanguard podcast. I want them to become the biggest thing on the internet.
Careful what you wish for, Matt. You just might get it.
Wow. Yeah, that definitely was his last sound analysis. I agree with you there, Zac. And at the very beginning, it cuts off, but he was saying my one real ambition in life, or something like that, is to make Zac and Gavin of the Vanguard podcast the biggest thing on the internet. And yeah, that really was, right before he totally went off the deep end. When we first started the show, he was actually kind of like still sane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I want to be bigger too, Woody. Me and Matt are on the same page. Anyway, had to play that for everyone. That it's really depressing, honestly, bro. It was one of those things where I was sitting there reading all of this, getting really worked up. Like I was pissed. Like my blood pressure was going up. Like I was thinking about how much I learned from Matt Taibbi. I think about how my entire experience writing for my high school paper, at the final chunk of it that I did, when I was really into Matt Taibbi and really into the Bernie Mentum and really into, writing in college. It was all just me trying to do my best fucking Matt Taibbi impression, man. And Matt Taibbi was trying to do his best Hunter Thompson impression. And so it's just this whole thing that was going on. And it was exactly what I'd been looking for, it felt like. As a young person, I wanted to find cool guys that I could relate to that had still taken an interest in left-wing politics, right? Like,
and that were funny and spirited and were just boring journalists. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And you want to know that there are dudes that come from, like I didn't realize that Matt Taibbi was a Nepo baby. I just thought he was like a random dude that decided to get into politics, right? Like same as Hunter Thompson. He was a guy from Louisville, Kentucky that just decided to go for it, right? And I loved their prose, right? I thought that these guys were genius writers. I wanted to be just like them. And it just breaks my fucking heart, man, to see what's happened to Matt Taibbi. It really fucking hurts me. And sometimes I just flip through his old articles. Like if you read Bush Like Me, if you read The Great American Bubble Machine, if you just read that article, Give 'Em Hell, Bernie Sanders, like I can feel it in my chest. Like it's so sad what happened.
Oh, it really is. Probably more so than any of the people we talk about.
Yeah.
Because we actually genuinely admire this guy and his work. It's not just like, oh yeah, I was kind of a fan of him for a while, like Jimmy Dore or something like that. Like, no, we really both deeply respected this man and his writing. Before we move on, one last tweet from Zaid Jilani, who again is typically, pretty much on the same page as Matt. At least I feel like over the last 3 or 4 years, they've kind of been grouped together in a similar category, but Zaid Jilani is not having this bullshit. He says, well, Taibbi spent a decade writing very positive articles about Bernie Sanders, and now his articles are about how he opposes candidates who run on Bernie's ideology and with his endorsement. It's fine to change your mind. It's weird to pretend you didn't. And again, he says, I change my mind about stuff all the time. Nothing embarrassing about it. And yeah, again, I would just have more respect for Matt Taibbi if he at least was honest about the fact that he's a fucking Republican now.
Yeah, I agree. In this instance, in the crusade, in my one-man warpath, two-man warpath, with or one-sided warpath is what I should really say, against Matt Taibbi, I found Zaid Jilani to be an unlikely ally. It's kind of like if the Vanguard is the United States, then Zaid Jilani is the United Kingdom. It's like we may have already fought our one war, but when World War II rolls around, and it's the Matt Taibbi tries to call out Zohran, and all hands are on deck. It's like, you know what? Hey, as long as you stay out of our fucking neck of the woods and you keep your king to yourself, I guess we'll fucking fight the Nazis. Okay?
Meanwhile, Zaid Jilani's like, who the fuck is the Vanguard? What?
Oh, I know. I've been going. And let me just remind everyone before we give this guy too much credit, as he calls out Matt Taibbi's inconsistency. Let's just go ahead and throw this up here. I tweeted this the other day. Hey, Zaid Jilani, checking in on your Josh Hawley is a genuine populist take. Never heard back from old Zed. Okay, that's what I thought. He deleted his fucking tweet about it. I said, Missouri resident here would love to debate you on Josh Hawley's record as it pertains to working people. He supported right to work in his first campaign. He supported ending mandatory insurance coverage for folks with pre-existing conditions. Voted against minimum wage increases. I could have gone on. Okay. And so I tweeted this out. I said, bro deleted all of his tweets saying Josh Hawley was going to oppose Build Back Better. So much for I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm Zaid Jilani. Go ahead and say it. I was too chicken to come and debate the Vanguard, and I knew they were going to be 100% right, but I had to do my fence-sitting bullshit and pretend Josh Hawley was serious.
Yep, that was super embarrassing. I can't believe he actually fucking deleted the tweet. That really was the cherry on top.
Yep, and this is what his response was.
Howley voting yes for something he knows is bad, but hand-wringing about it, maybe LOL. That's kind of funny. That is sort of funny.
So, I don't know. That seems kind of like, I don't know. That doesn't
It is true that Hawley literally Rager voting for it. Give that healed speech about how this is a terrible fucking bill and it was a bad idea. It's like, bro, you just fucking voted for it, dog. What the fuck?
That's exactly what I said was going to happen.
Yep.
Zed?
Yup.
out the door. If you hear an ambulance, the Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.